Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War class setup video. In tonight's video, we're going to be talking about the MILANO 821 SMG, which is the mini Uzi in this game. It is a pretty good SMG. Of course, SMGs all have to compete with the MP5 in this game, which is an absolutely deadly one. But I think we will see some balance changes. Usually when Call of Duty comes out, the balance is there's always weapons that stand out a little bit more than others at the start of the game, and then they add balance changes, and then over the life cycle, there still is the standout weapons, but it ends up being a little more balanced. But as of right now, I still think that this MILANO 821, even with the MP5 being an absolute monster, this is a very good SMG in this game, and it definitely has its weaknesses compared to the MP5, but also strengths in different areas. So we're going to talk about this weapon, give you guys the best class setup for the maxed out one. If you guys could drop a like on this video, let's go ahead and go for 305 likes. That would be absolutely amazing if we could hit that. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed, and be sure to hit that notification bell because I will be covering everything you need to know about Black Ops Cold War class setups, tips and tricks, news and updates, and much more. So smack that like, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, the MILANO SMG, I will go ahead and show the class setup I use for it up on the screen right now. As you can see, once again, going with Perk Greed, which I'm really loving as far as it's definitely my favorite wild card so far. All the wild cards are good in their own right, but Perk Greed is just so helpful or useful as of right now because of the amount of people that are spamming the grenades and the amount of people that just are able to listen for you and even spam UAVs. Although in this class setup, I end up going with Gung Ho instead of Ghost on that third perk slot, but we'll go over the whole class setup here. Stim Shot, Grenade, and then Field Mic. Very self-explanatory on those three. I think that's pretty much the try-hard setup. Maybe you swap out the Frag Grenade for a C4, but as far as Stim Shot and Field Mic, that's pretty much your go-to try-hard ones, and the Field Mics are very strong in this game, as well as Stim Shot being very strong. I wish there was a way, like, I know there is ways to get Stim Shots more often, I guess, and I try to get them as much as I can with this class setup, but I still wish there was a way to just have Stim Shot like all the time, but I guess that would be a little bit overpowered. And of course, I just really, it's amazing when you have that Stim Shot up, the game feels really smooth, and then when it's down, you do have to pay attention to that because the way you can challenge gunfights and take on, like, go into more areas where you're going to run into multiple enemies is a lot different. But as far as the perk setup with Perk Greed, Flak Jacket, Tac Mask, no questions there. Obviously, they are throwing grenades at a rapid pace in this game, and running those is very amazing. Now, as far as Perk 2s, like I've said before, Perk 2s are ones that I'm still really not sure of the best setup overall, but I've just been, mixing up depending on different class setups. Assassin is decent. There's other ones that are decent as well. Tracker is okay, although you can just listen for footsteps. That's what I find so far, especially because most people don't have Ninja yet, I guess. Well, a lot of people do because people are ranking up really fast, but especially with double XP that's in the game right now. But Ninja is unlocked. I believe it's more towards like level 38 or something, so a lot of the players you'll be playing against won't have that, so you'll be able to hear them pretty easily, so Tracker isn't as needed. But for Perk 2, I go with the Quartermaster and the Gearhead, just stuff that helps me with, getting my equipment and getting my field mics more often. And I find that it is really helpful, especially on those small maps, when you get that field mic quicker, and it works really well with this class setup. The field mic restocking with that Perk 2, as well as having, the ability to have 2 up at once or whatever it is, and the Gung Ho. I find that that's a good setup overall. And then for Perk 3, like I said, it's usually between the big 3 in the Perk 3 slot are going to be Ghost, Ninja, and Gung Ho. This one is a little bit more of a rush happy class setup where I'm not as worried about if they see me on the mini-map because I'm going to be in pretty predictable spots anyway. This is going to be, for maps where it's more close quarters, and so Gung Ho and Ninja are what I like to run. Ninja is helpful for 2 ways because not only does it make the enemy not able to hear you as well, it also makes you not able to hear yourself as well, which makes everyone else's footsteps stand out a lot louder, which is very important if you do have a headset to make sure you're running Ninja. And then Gung Ho, I think, is a pretty useful perk as far as the weapon swapping. It doesn't really matter too much. I don't really need to swap weapons too much because of the magazine attachments and stuff we have on the mini Uzi MILANO, which we'll talk about in a second. But Gung Ho, just as far as rushing, it is a very nice perk in this game, and that's what I rock with as far as my perk setup. Now, as far as my 5 attachments that I rock with this thing, let's go ahead and break them down. Now, the first is going to be the SOCOM Eliminator. I like this because what it does is it gives you, it's pretty standard. I think these attachments are standard across a lot of the weapons, but the SOCOM Eliminator, 85% on the muzzle flash concealment, 17% on the vertical recoil control, and then it costs you a little bit on your horizontal recoil, which doesn't matter too much at all, and shooting move speed, which does matter, but of course it's definitely a worth it trade for this attachment. And you'll see in this class setup, I have some attachments that definitely say they're hurting the recoil, but honestly, when you get into the game, I mean, most of the guns in this game, they don't have much recoil at all, and even if they do, you kill the enemy so fast that by the time you get to the point where you're feeling the recoil, like, that only happens if you're missing all your shots. If you're hitting your shots, usually the enemy's dead before you can even get into those predictive recoil patterns, and as long as you're pulling down a little bit on that right thumbstick, you know, just a tiny bit sometimes can be very helpful for controlling recoil. But for the most part, you don't even have to worry about recoil, especially with a gun like this, which is going to be up close and personal, where you're not really going to have to deal with that too much. So muzzle flash concealment and vertical recoil control, very nice. I do like vertical recoil control over the horizontal on the majority of weapons. Next is going to be with the barrel. We go with the 10.6 task force, which is the biggest barrel you can get on this thing. The extended barrel improves bullet speed, range, and damage against enemy personnel. And this is a pretty nice attachment. You get 5% on the damage, which doesn't really do too much as far as how many bullets you're going to take to kill them, of course, at close range, but I guess at ranges it probably does affect a little bit, especially when you stack that damage and the effective damage range going up plus 50%, and the bullet velocity up 75% is also very nice on an SMG setup. The bullet velocity is very nice. I like it. And then you have the max starting ammo down 25%, and once again you see here this hurts my recoil minus 20%, minus 15% on the vertical, and then the horizontal right there, 20 for vertical, 15 for horizontal. So at the appearance it's like, oh my gosh, this gun's gonna have a ridiculous amount of recoil, but when you actually get into the gameplay, it's like, oh, all my gunfights are at close range, aim down sights. Recoil is not really a problem at all. So 10.6 as far as that. Now, as far as the magazine, I've been rocking with this on most of the guns when I get them at ranked up, which is the Salvo 55 round fast mag. This is also what I rock on with the AK-47. I guess I don't know if it's called the exact same thing, but the biggest round mag with the fast mag. It's very nice. It gives you everything you need because it gives you the magazine ammo capacity. You get 55 rounds per mag. Reload quickness, this thing reloads instantly. You basically never have to worry about reloading. Max starting ammo and ammo capacity increased, which means that you don't really have to worry too much about having to use danger close as a wild card or scavenger as a perk too. And there's ammo crates around the map, as well as the fact that everyone is just tryharding with the MP5 pretty much. So if you run out of ammo, just grab one of their guns, right? And minus 25% on the ADS time. That does hurt, that does affect you on an SMG, and that does hurt a little bit, but it's totally worth it to never have to worry about really if you're gonna be stuck in a reload or anything like that. Next is going to be the Airborne Elastic Wrap, which what this does is gives you 30 on the aim down sight time, which boom, right there makes up for that minus 25 we just talked about. 90 on the flinch resistance and aiming while going prone, which does mean you can use this weapon as drop shotting, which is more viable, I guess, on SMGs than ARs, but it's pretty much only viable in this game if you have the right attachment on that allows you to drop shot, aim while going prone. And it's something that I probably have to get used to more. I'm just, used to in a Black Ops game, jump shotting, and, back in the day in Modern Warfare games, that's where drop shotting was really as strong, but mainly in most of the Call of Duty games now, it's more about strafing and jump shotting. Minus 10 on the shooting move speed, a minus 15 on the sprint to fire time. Once again, those do hurt you, and that's why we have this last attachment as the Raider stock, which is the last stock you will unlock, that gives you 30% on your sprint to fire time and 10% on your aim walking speed, which is absolutely incredible. And it does hurt your hip fire accuracy minus 30%, which for the most part, hip fire doesn't matter too much in this game. I guess you could say on ARs. On SMGs, it does matter a little bit, but I find that even with this minus 30%, the hip fire still seems pretty good on this weapon, I would say. It was surprising. Like, I thought, once I throw this on, okay, if I'm ever hip firing, I'm gonna be losing all those fights, but it does seem decent, I guess you could say, and still what you want to be doing is hip firing. Like, if you start off the gunfight and let's say you're hip fire spraying, you want to get your aim down as quick as possible, but this game has a lot to do with not only pre-aiming, but pre-spraying, whether that's starting off with just spraying hip fire and aiming down sights, whether it's using the field mic to know where your enemies, the red dots in the minimap, are coming around the corner, whether it's using your headset with Ninja to know where the enemies are coming around the corner. This game is a lot about your intel and positioning. It's not more, it's less about other games where it's like you patrol the outskirts of the map and the enemies are in the middle of the map and you just pick them off, and if you're a smart player you can win. This game isn't like that at all. The middle of the maps are created to be not middle of the maps. They're hectic. On that snow map, it's like they have that one boardwalk which is just straight up, they like 1-on-1. There's no cover. You look at the player and it's right there, and even like there's no real the whole map is basically the middle of the map. And my other example I use is Cartel, which is there is definitely a middle of the map and the sides of the maps on that one, but the middle of the map, which is usually open in traditional Call of Duty games, is completely covered by bushes where people can get cover and just, you know, duck out of your sights and slide in. The movement in this game is fairly decent, I would say. So being able to move and maneuver around is key, and it's more about, you know, being able to move around, win those gunfights, and pre-aim, pre-spray, and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Definitely give the MILANO 821 a try. I think this weapon I enjoy it, to be honest. It's one of my top guns in this game. I wouldn't say it's the best of the best gun, because the MP5 and some of the ARs I really like, and I think I prefer those over, I definitely do prefer those over this weapon, but this weapon is a good one. And if you're looking for an SMG that's fun to use, this is definitely fun to use and still a strong weapon overall. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did make it to the end, smack a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed, and I'll go ahead and catch you guys in the next video. That's about it. I'm out. Peace.